What's your best definition of an idea and a concept? Let's Google them first. Idea, a concept. Concept, an idea. Confusing, isn't it? Let's ask around to hear the definitions from random people.
Excuse me, sir. Hi, what's your name? Oh, my name's Devin. Nice to meet you. So, Devin, may I ask you a question?
Sure, what would you like to know?
What's your definition of an idea and a concept?
An idea?
Well, I suppose an idea is a unique thought or feeling that you might have at the spur of the moment. And I guess it becomes a concept once you've put some thought and definition into it. Essentially done a little bit of work to make it into something more.
Thank you, Devin.
I think an idea or a concept is something that's kind of interchangeable, but it's something that's creative or something that you come up with in your own mind.
Great, thank you.
I think an idea is a thought and a concept is an idea with a plan.
Thank you so much. Excuse me, sir.
Yes,
What's your name?
my name's Joe.
Joe. Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Would like to know your definition of an idea and a concept.
Well, I would have to say that an idea is kind of a thought that hasn't really been well defined yet. Sort of the infancy stage of planning, whereas a concept really has a plan behind it. You've already gone beyond the idea, and you actually have formulated a plan for executing or creating that idea.
Thank you so much. All right. Let's take a look at a video.
You have an idea. Suddenly, almost out of nowhere, that light pops on, and you have that fantastic moment of discovery, the eureka moment. And you know what? Your idea is pretty good, a gem in fact. But ideas and concepts are two separate things. An idea devoid of concept is like a diamond without light. Your idea may be that rare, perfect gem, but concept is the light. Concepts are what bring light and life to ideas. It's the hidden part of an idea's essence. Though at times abstract, it is powerful.
We see a concept is deeper and more powerful than an idea. Would you like to find out more?
Yes.
Hold on, be patient.
Sure.
We will introduce our special guest, Winston Perez.
Who is it?
Winston Perez, I call him a philosophical businessman, as featured in the New York Times. Winston is the creator and founder of concept modeling and a visionary award-winning author of the book concerning the nature and structure of concept. Welcome, Mr. Perez.
Well, thank you for having me. It's so nice to be here. I really appreciate you inviting me.
Thank you for coming. Should I say Mr. Concept?
Hopefully, yes.
So how did you discover concept modeling?
Well,
And what is it?
yeah, to put it into context, it's the difference between an idea and a concept and how the abstract world works and how that abstract world kind of dictates how the material world works. And I made the discovery in 1989.
Wow.
It's a little heady, but I'll try to explain it briefly.
Thank you.
I was working in publishing a newspaper, and I was working on a new design because the newspaper was geared towards the youth market. And all of a sudden I had one of those classic eureka moments. There was something unusual about the design I created. And in an instant when it hit me, I realized that all newspapers are their design is actually based on technology.
Wow.
Technology required to produce them. And that goes back to Gutenberg in 1440 when he invented the printing press, right? So if you look at the Wall Street Journal or New York Times, it's columns, right?
Right.
That's because they had to have those metal slots and squeeze them in and then print them, right? But that technology, the final nail in the coffin, happened in 1980 with the introduction of the Mac, right, and things like that. So underlying the design, there was a whole body, you could actually shift that. There's a deeper concept there, right? And I realized I had made my design based on art. If you know the paintings of Mondrian, he's very square-centered, very abstract. you can look him up. But in essence, I realized everything, even newspapers, have a deeper layer to them, and that's a concept layer. So there is a separation of idea from concept, and we were never trained on that. So that was
Right.
the beginning of my journey into concept, exploring it, kind of seeing it, how it's different than idea.
Okay, great. So I understand today you brought some cups
Yes.
to illustrate the concept. Please share with us now.
Sure, love to do that. Great, so I'd like to show you a practical application of how concept applies to business, right? And one of the most famous examples is, you know the sleeves you get at Starbucks, right? All this
yes.
stuff. That's related to a coffee handle, right?
Right.
Now what I just said is so obvious, right? But everything in history is kind of obvious in hindsight. From Nike to the internet, now it's like, oh wow, yeah. But the guys who made the paper cups, I don't know if you remember this, they used to have those fold-out ears, right? I can't even find them anymore. It's amazing. I can only find them in this like
Wow.
little cup, just to show you. Remember
Oh,
these
that's so
fold-out?
cute.
And look, it imitates, right? The coffee.
So they used to be like this.
Yes, they all used to be like this until this came along. So here's the point of it, is that the guys who make this sell 1 billion of them a year
Wow.
when it should have been the paper cup guys. They're probably slapping their heads going, why didn't I see that? The reason is they were looking at the idea of this, not the concept, the essence of what this is about, right? It's not about ears, it's about heat, keeping your hand cool
Right.
while keeping the coffee hot. So this is a strategy around that that caters to the essence of what this is, right? Versus any idea.
Such a simple thing makes a big change.
Yes, but you see, everything in history is like that. You know, Nike is a simple change, you know? Shoes became fashion. You know, before they were just sneakers for sports. So all these little twists, we don't see them till hindsight. So concept modeling, what I do, is to be able to recognize kind of the future before it gets there by exploring and deconstructing the essence of something. And that comes from separating idea from concept. I can show you another example if you'd like.
Please.
So if you're here and you ask your audience, you know, and this is really to demonstrate the difference between idea and concept. I might ask you how many ideas you see here, and a lot of people would say, oh, I see 4 different, right?
Right,
4,
yes.
5. But actually, that's not the way ideas work. You have an idea for a cup that's disposable, right, that you're going to throw away after you use it, and so suddenly you make it into this kind of disposable cup. Once you build this, the idea is gone. It only works in the abstract world, right? Well, maybe I say, you know what, I'm going to create something to toast a bride and groom at a wedding, right? A cup that way. Suddenly you might see this
Right.
in your mind. Once you create it, the idea is gone, it's replaced by the thing itself. Concept is completely different. And concept is a container, but when you bring it into the real world, I cannot extract the concept of container from this. So you can start to see a characteristic, a concept that's totally different from an idea. The concept of container, you actually see it when you look at it. You recognize it as a container. The idea, you try to reflect, oh, I know what he was thinking about when he or she made it. So suddenly there's a separation of idea from concept. So if you want to see the future, you want to perfect your business, you have to separate idea from concept, and that's how they made 1 billion, selling 1 billion of these a year.
So the concept make you a billionaire.
They can. I mean, all the great ideas, right, were shifts in concept. Concept is a hidden source that gives an idea light, energy, and life. Ideas change the world. Concepts change ideas. Our cutting-edge work will make the future of your film, technology, or business even brighter. Turn this into this, or maybe even this, but definitely and always this. I can give you an example in history that's probably the most famous. So, separation of idea from concept. If you look at the history of flight, right, what the Wright brothers did, right, was built an idea, a machine that catered to the concept of flight. That concept was discovered by Sir George Cayley 111 years before.
We don't know him.
We don't
Right.
know who he is.
Yeah.
Right? So what is that concept? That's called aerodynamics. And then suddenly, oh yeah, I know what aerodynamic is. But throughout history, we really didn't have a sense of what aerodynamic was. We kind of, let me try this design for an airplane, right? And they just jumped off a cliff and it didn't work out well, right? So any idea you have to separate the idea, which are a million possibilities, into the essence of the idea, so that's when it flies. If your idea doesn't cater to a concept, that's when it crashes. That's another example in history, but there are hundreds and thousands of examples.
Okay.
Why you have to separate it out, I don't know if you've seen this kind of cup, right? So this is a large cup, and boy, for a lot of people, oh, it's great. You know, this was really popular for a while, right? The problem with this is it has a defect in it. And that defect is the kind of concept that's built into this, which is a wider cup. The problem that this is 1 inch, this is a 2-inch radius. That means the surface area is 4 times larger. And what that means is that this coffee cup, your coffee will cool off 4 times faster. So you'll be drinking it, oh God, it's gotten cold, you know, whereas this, that won't happen. So that's why these are disappearing, because they're not as popular now because it cools down too fast. But you wouldn't recognize it unless you were able to concept model the essence of what a coffee cup is.
So you mean they used to use this as a coffee cup?
Yes, this became so popular because they're nice.
Yeah,
If you were to
look
choose
at very
between the two,
cute.
I love
Nice.
it. But it's not about that. It's about the essence of what a coffee cup is. This is super high technology, so simple. Keep the coffee hot, keep your hand cool.
Right.
This one doesn't keep the coffee hot because surface area means it cools down 4 times as fast. And you wouldn't know that because it's so pretty. But as far as market, people would sell them, but they go, you know, I like my old cup. I don't know why, but this one, I think the machine's broken or something, but it cools down too fast. Yes, it's getting at the essence of what is there. What are the possibilities first, which is ideas, but then the essence of what is it really about? Is it about being pretty? Sure, that's a marketing concern, but it has to function, fulfill its purpose as keeping the coffee hot. If it doesn't do that, it's kind of useless, right?
I understand that goes into the concept.
Yes.
Thanks. This is a map view. Our mission is to enable your business to succeed in the Americas and Asia Pacific region. I'm Julia Z. I approve this message. So, Mr. Perez,
Yes.
can you demonstrate how your formation of a concept works in business and how it is different?
Sure. Yes, what they'll do is they'll give me a product, or I'll do it in movies, or technology, and I'll look at it. And there's one I did for The Biggest Loser, which was an NBC TV show.
Wow.
And it was advanced technology at that time, but it's everywhere now, which was sort of, it was like the Fitbit or MyTrack system, which was a device that allowed you to track motion and had an accelerometer in it. So when you strapped it to your body, you can really count how many calories you were using, right? And so they're going to use it on the show, whatever, to count the calories that the contestants were using. But they asked me just to look at it and concept model it. And so what I'll do is I'll take the technology, open it up, look at things, and then I'll throw it away physically. So you ask yourself, what's left? What's the essence of that product, right? What is it there for? Because the technology has to serve the concept, not the other way around. And what I discovered after doing all this work was the essence of it was an ability for your body to talk back to you. And that's what you're going to see in the future. Those devices are probably going to start to talk to you. Hey, you promised to run 2 miles today and you've only gone half a mile.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and so suddenly that's what it's trying to do. It's a communication device, basically, for that device to talk to you. But what would it want to tell you? It might tell you about your heart, it might tell you about your blood pressure, right? So that's where I think all those things are going forward. That allows both marketing opportunities, because I was writing the line, I don't think they got a chance to use it, but a way to say, this is how your body can talk to you. Are you going to listen, right? But also where it's going to go in the future and how it's going to shift, right? And so obviously Apple has it on their devices now and all those things. So when you concept model the essence of something, you get a clarity that impacts all your decisions. So in the real world, 10 people or 200 people have the same idea, right, for a device. But usually there's one or two that get the concept so tight that suddenly all their decisions are the right ones, from marketing to design, right, to all the things that you're going to program it for the future. And so that's one application, you know, which I use in businesses.
In technology.
In technology, yes. Others, you know, I can talk a little bit about film if you like, but
yes, please.
Oh, you know what? If you're asking about technology, I can show you a simple example that explains it. When I'm talking to a group, I'll always say, you know, do you guys know what this is? You know, and everyone will say, "Oh yeah, it's."
Everyone says cell phone.
iPhone, right? Yes,
Yeah.
iPhone, and I'll say, "No, it's not." And you say, "What do you mean, no, it's not?" It really, what this is, it's a computer that has apps, right? And one of the apps is a phone. So if you look at your device, you're going to have all these apps. Only one is a phone. That is so important because here was the old cell phone, right? And technically they're out of business, right? Because they didn't realize the concept had shifted from a cell phone to a computer. So everyone who built these, for a while, they're out of business.
Right.
They're trying to bring them back, but they're going to come back as computers designed to look like cell phone. So in your business, you have to reach the deeper layer to stay in business. You have to understand there are conceptual shifts that happen versus technology or idea, which is wider, thinner, bigger, yellow, green, all those things. You always have to reach deeper. So that's perhaps a good example.
Oh, that's a very good example for us to understand more about the concept.
Yes.
Thanks. So I have another question. As an entrepreneur,
Yes.
how do you know if a concept is not worth pursuing?
Yeah, that's what the modeling is for. We all have an idea, but we don't really know how to deconstruct it. Part of that is understanding how ideas work and the principles that make concept work. So I have an idea for a product. Let's say it's Blockbuster. I'll give you an example. I want to sell videos, you know, through a store, retail. So it's going to be a retail business. But I know there was a hint that digital is coming at that time, right? So you have to deconstruct what it is you're doing. What is retail itself? What is a video, right? What is this tape? Because those are mediums, right? And if the medium shifts, how does it impact the store? How does it impact your business? The fascinating thing is, a lot of articles at the time said Blockbuster didn't know that the retail business for selling films was going away. And that is 100% incorrect. Today, there's a thing called Redbox that is retail distribution of film, but it's just convenience. So that's why you see it next to 7-Elevens. And that's a huge, huge business. Last I counted, they had like 33,000 distribution centers. So retail wasn't dead, it was just transforming. So when you have an idea, you have to deconstruct each little piece, which takes weeks. When I do this work, I actually get up at 4 in the morning because I can't have any disruption, and I'll concentrate on what is retail. Well, we all know what retail is, right? Just like the sleeves and the coffee cups. But when you spend time, you deconstruct, you model it, you start to see, oh my gosh, retail is shifting. There's convenience retail versus, you know, big store retail. So now you start to see where it might go in the future. So the process is really taking the time to think deeply about something, applying the principles, which are the difference between an idea and a concept, and that's what the modeling is all about.
Okay, so I know you have a book. Would you like to show us and the audience?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I can show you, yes. This is my book concerning the nature and structure of concept. So what is this, right? It's not how to make $1 million in 10 days, you know, which is some of the publishers, that's what we'll probably do next. But really it's about the fundamental discipline based on concepts. So the best way to explain it is when you go to school and you study marketing concepts. Finance concepts. Law, legal concept. My only point is you'd never teach physics without teaching math first. So how is it we teach all these concept-based disciplines without teaching concept itself? As it turns out, concept is an entirely separate discipline. And you were saying a little bit about philosophy and business. Everything in history started as philosophy, so a lot of it has to do with philosophy. When you build a product, you're injecting your philosophy of what the perfect product is. So there's an element of that in it. So when you learn the principles on how this discipline works, then you can apply it to film, which I work on movies for the studios, or technologies, trying to show you where the future, or business. So once you learn it, then you start to see distinction, then you can apply it to your own business or product.
Thank you, Winston, for joining us today.
Oh, thank you very much. This was wonderful. I really appreciate it. You're such a gracious and great host.
Thanks.
I appreciate it.